Hello, welcome to this intro to open space. What is open space? It's a method to exchange ideas and co-create anything, even with a large number of people. How does it work? Well, you need from a half day to maybe several days to do it. And what you do is you start with an opening circle where all the participants, usually sitting in a circle if you do it physically, together co-create the agenda, come up with ideas on what to talk about, what to work upon, and set the agenda. Then when they set the agenda, we open the space, we run the sessions. So that is several rounds of quote time box quote sessions in parallel. They are time boxed. The rooms are time boxed for the different sessions, but if a session wants to continue longer than scheduled, they can do so as long as they maybe move out of the room if there's another session that wants that room, that has been scheduled for that room. The participants are able or free to participate in any session and go freely however they want. The only law they have to obey is the law of mobility. That is, if you find yourself in a place where you are no longer learning or contributing, move somewhere where you can. Then when we have done all the sessions according to the schedule and the whole time is out, we gather again in a closing circle where all participants share what's been talked about, what they started, created, what initiatives they started up in the sessions, what decisions they made, and maybe some decisions they want the whole group to take, so they maybe propose it at the closing circle, and we take those decisions. And then we maybe close this open space or reiterate. Maybe we did only set the agenda for the first half day, and now we set the agenda for the next half day. Maybe we did set the agenda for the whole 2 days, but we want to iterate and maybe come up with new ideas. So this loop runs until we're done for that time. This is how an opening circle can look when we run open space at CRISP. You sit physically in the circle so everybody can see everybody, and in the middle there are post-it notes, and we pick them up and write down ideas on what we want to talk about or what we want to do together. And then we start create the agenda. People show what sessions they are interested in by writing their signature on the post-its, and with aid of those signatures, even if there are no obligation that we will attend a certain session, it helps to set agenda. And the session responsibles, the persons who came up with the ideas for the session, they help to see to that there are as few conflicts as possible. But of course there will be conflicts. I mean, people that want to be on several sessions at the same time. But that is just to deal with, and then the sessions are executed. Sometimes they gather a lot of people, sometimes just a few little core group. There are some roles here. One of the important roles are, of course, the facilitators, the ones helping facilitate the whole thing. They usually have very little time participating. Then we have the session responsible people, the persons who have come up with suggestions for sessions. They have to take responsibility to facilitate and record a session if it occurs. And usually that is done on a flip chart. And then we have, of course, all the rest participants, which has only one law to obey, the law of mobility, as we talked about. The principles behind open space is that whoever comes are the right people. The person showing up at the session are the ones who wanted to be there, who are interested in talking or doing what the session topic is about. And that means that whatever happens there is the only thing that could happen, because it was those who appeared there who did it. And it starts when they assemble, maybe not at the scheduled time, maybe earlier or maybe later. So it starts when it starts. That's the right time. And it's over when it's over, meaning when they talked about it, done something, and feel it's finished, whoever attended a specific session, then it's over. The only law is the law of mobility. If you find yourself in a place where you're no longer learning or contributing, move somewhere where you can. It's invitation-based. You're invited, but not required, not forced. You're invited to co-create with others. And in that way, open space makes space for agile. Agile doesn't work without engaged people. Open space is invitation to create and make decisions together, and that are engaging. So open space makes space for agile. Thank you for listening into this introduction of open space. Welcome to listen to some experiences I have had from using open space with some clients. Swedish Games, Swedish Television Interactive, the bank SEB, and Swedish Agile Authorities Network. I used open space with the Swedish Television and with Swedish Game to boost agility. The situation with these clients when I worked with them were quite similar. They had challenge around their agile implementation. It didn't work as they wanted to. I started up by having agile training, repetition of what I think is most important aspects of agile, helping them to get inspired again and energized. So think about things they want to change, inspire them in that thinking, and then help them set up an open space with theme something like, what do we want to do differently to be more fun and effective? Those sessions running for 1 or 2 days usually led with these clients and with other clients too, to a number of actions, like new ways of collaborating between teams, new layout of the office space for enhancing pair programming or mob programming, a new way of new processes, maybe change of roles and stuff like that. Another important outcome at these clients has been that, and without me saying anything, that they set up to have open space regularly, like 1 to 2 times per semester. And as far as I saw it when I were working with them, this helped them to continuously create engagement and organizational development. I also used open space, or I shouldn't say I used it, it was rather I co-created this together with other transformational people within SEB during the major agile transition I was part of helping SEB with for a number of years ago. All parts of business development was in this transformation invited to try Agile their own way. There were no master plan, there were no rollout of Agile, but they had set up then this open space, or Agile Fair as we call it, once a year for 2 days with over 1,000 participants, where people could share their experiences, their solutions to doing Agile in different ways across the organization, and their challenges. And we also had seminars from outside experts. This created engagement, competence sharing, and when, after a couple of years, when frictions surfaced between different solutions of running Agile they had created, it was easy to create alignment and remove restrictions bottom up. I also used open space quite recently together with Agile authorities, a number of Swedish authorities that are collaborating around how to run Agile. We had an open space remote and I used a template that you can find on the Miro board here on how to run open space remotely with up to 70 people. This time around, we were about 50 people in the open space. So we run it as a typical open space. Schedule was set up on the Miro board. We had links to the different rooms. And even if it was remote and we used Zoom, it still worked quite well and got a lot of energy. And you can see the return of investment that they responded on was pretty high. It could have been even better, and I think of course it always is better if you do things like this IRL, but still it was energizing enough, so they decided to do this again. Okay, thank you for listening to my experiences of using open space with some clients. Welcome. I will tell a little about how we use open space at CRISP. CRISP started with open space for many years ago as part of one of the transformations of our organization we've done over the years. This was in 2007. At that point in time, we went from unequal ownership of the company to equal ownership, and everybody invited to own an equal share. From shareholders making major decisions to full democracy for all members of CRISP. From organizational development in a traditional way through steering board to organizational development through open space. We described a number of values for us that you can read about on our DNA, and I will repeat the most important one here. Community. We like to hang out with people who share our values. Freedom. We want to control our own time. Competence. We want to continuously learn. Good citizenship. Heart over wallet. Money isn't the main thing in life. And professionalism. We genuinely care about solving our customers' problem. These were the things we defined at that point in time. And you can see we thereby are able to have autonomy, mastery, and purpose that Dan Pink have described so well in his book Drive are important prerequisites to keep motivation high. And that is what really matters for us in CRISP: engagement, motivation. So how do we do it? Well, this is the way my view of it. We have many views in CRISP. I'm sure there are other ways of seeing it. But we have 4 open space conferences per year. Those generate a number of ideas and things we do in between. For example, our CRISPlets. Our CRISPlets are like ongoing open space sessions where we do things together in smaller groups. We also continuously, daily discuss in Slack and mail new ideas and make new decisions. That's like in continuous open space. But regularly we come up with greater things we need to discuss with more people and more intense. And that is what we do on our open spaces. The layout of our conferences is usually something like this. We have a check-in, some special activity decided by facilitators, general information from the CRISPlets and from CRISP steering board. Then we usually have some lightning talks, some inspirational talks, help us get inspired to set the agenda then together, running the session, maybe some more lightning talks, and regathering and sharing the session and make decisions and together. And this is usually iterated a number of times during one conference. We have over the years developed a decision-making process that is to make decisions smooth and to minimize time sitting in the big group, because that's usually not energizing. So during the presentation of sessions, which is restricted to only 2 minutes per presentation, we propose the decisions if there are any, and then we check with the group, can we make this decision right away, and then we make it. Otherwise, put it in the decision backlog. No big group discussions, and then we take kind of pause and have a decision mingle where people can go around and get enough information to be able to make their opinion about any particular decision that were proposed. And then we have decision rounds where we empty the decision backlog, so to speak, where the decision is read again, maybe it's being rephrased, check, can we make the decision? If yes, we make it. Otherwise, then the decision driver has to deal with it and try to do this at another time. Outside conferences, our decision process are something like this. Option 1 is just do whatever you want to. Don't ask for permission. Don't try to have a common decision. We have a principle that rather say you're sorry afterwards than ask for permission. Option 2 is propose whatever it is for the Crispians, discuss it and decide. If it's too hard to come to an agreement, maybe reassemble everybody if this is something important, IRL at our office, then discuss it there and decide. Or if it's too hard to assemble everyone, IRL in between conferences, wait until next open space conference. Thank you for listening to how we use open space in CRISP. So welcome to my reflections on open space agility, on the open space agility framework. This is a framework that was created by a guy named Daniel Metzik. I hope I pronounce his name right. He is author to a number of books, among them one especially called Inviting Leadership, that is written together with Mark Sheffield. This framework stems back from 2015 when he created it, I think as part of his improving agility work on network, I think it is. And it's based on some principles that I think it's really nice. To work with the willing, not trying to force anyone when transforming to agile. Make or have the leaders to go first and make meetings optional. Of course, that connects very well with work with willing. I'm not going to describe the framework here because it's very well described on the website Open Space Agility. This is the main picture on that website, and it's clickable, so you can see read about all the details. The overall structure is that you transform your organization by running open space regularly, similar to how we use open space in CRISP or at the clients I've been talking about, having open space regularly and doing experiments in between. And I haven't followed the open space agility framework with any of my clients, but I got very intrigued by reading about it, and I think it was a number of things in this framework that is great. The principles, especially to work with the willing, that's a principle that's really I want and one should always follow. There's a lot of structure, which I think can help to clarify for people when you talk about using open space as the mean to work with improvements and transformation. And it's very inspirational, so much of it, to focus on invitation and motivation and engagement. And it's been, as I understand it, built on a lot of experience. On the website, you can read and listen to a number of client reports on how they've been using it. But there are also some buts. Oh, sorry, there's also resources as well. That's also a great thing, and trainings and stuff. But a few buts. One is that it's too specific. You get the sense that there is a recipe that you could follow, and I get always a little dubious when someone tries to provide, here's a recipe, just do this and it will work out fine. I maybe misunderstood it, but I get that little feeling. And also that is so much detail. It's a lot of inspirational detail, but everything together, so is it really mandatory? I would like to see a KISS version, a much more simpler version of this, where you can add on things instead of getting that whole picture presented to you from the start. But I haven't used it. I only read about it, and it feels that much of it is similar to the way I've been using OpenSpace, and that I've seen other use of space. So I think this connects with an overall trend to work more invitation-based. Okay, that was all. Thank you for listening.